Drummer Matt, I've had my finger in your mouth before, haven't I?
Yeah, I mean, it's fair to assume.
Hello and welcome to episode 126 of the MisanthroPod. I am Snipe, and as always, I'm joined by Wib. Say hello.
Hello.
I am also joined by Drumbly Bumbly. Say hello.
Humbly Blumbly. Hello.
Drumbly Bumbly Matthew Tumbly. How are you lovely gents this fine Friday evening?
I'm doing all right. You doing all right, Matt?
Yeah, I'm alright. How are you, Snipe?
I'm okay, considering.
The incident.
The incident.
The incident being...
I'm not allowed in Waterstones anymore. I just don't want to talk about it, okay?
No, you got your second vaccination today.
I got my second vaccination today. So now the MisanthroPod is fully vaccinated and ready to fuck. Not each other. Well, maybe. We don't know. It's been weird.
Not sure the vaccine protects against any kind of fucking related injury.
Well, no, I guess it wouldn't.
I mean, yeah, if you're like, you pull a muscle
But we can,
or something,
we can do it face to face now. We don't have to go back to
Yeah,
back.
but I am still going to be wearing my mask, so kind of
Well,
like
yeah,
a lot
but we were
of
doing that
mouth
before.
players out. This is true. But we were
the
wearing...
masks were part of it.
The masks did have holes in.
They weren't face masks, per se. It wasn't like strict PPE, but, it counts as, so it's fine.
Yeah.
Especially that one that Drummer Matt wears. With the extension on it. That one, yeah. But yeah, I've had my second vaccination today, which it hurt. I was surprised. And I got a sticker as well.
I didn't get stickers.
I didn't get a sticker either.
Like anyone I've spoken to doesn't get stickers, but I got stickers. There's like a little love
Were you
heart,
looking
like a blue and pink.
Were you looking particularly scared when you went in or something?
No, dude, have you, I have 18 piercings. Do you fucking think... Anytime I've had an injection, they've always made a joke about, like, oh, this ain't gonna bother you, is it? And I'm like, not really. No.
I will say, because, my first one didn't hurt at all.
No, my first one didn't.
My second one did, yeah.
I was fine with both. In fact, and I had a sore arm... Like the day after the first one, the day after the second one, I had nothing.
Maybe it's because, did you have the Pfizer or
no, I had the AstraZeneca because I had the first one before they stopped giving it to under whatever the cut-off age is.
Yeah, no.
And then when they did the second, they still want to match up, so I still had it. I was just giving an extra leaflet, which was terribly worded about how yeah, it was like it had obviously been bodged together by an intern in 20 minutes or something.
Oh shit! Okay.
About the slightly higher risk of blood clots with AstraZeneca, which is still less than the risk of getting blood clots if you get COVID. But I mean,
it's preferable. It's I'm feeling a bit woozy and a bit then just kind of tired, and I know for the next 4 days my temperature and my body's going to be hurting a lot. But you know what that beats the fuck out of? Having COVID.
Yep.
So I'm completely fine with that.
And even beating that, giving COVID to someone else who's more vulnerable.
Especially
that.
I
pretty much don't really care if I get it. I mean, obviously I do, and there is a chance of it going horribly wrong, but it probably won't. But I really, really care about having it, not being symptomatic, and then giving it to someone else who is more vulnerable.
Oh, no,
that's the bit that scares me.
Yeah, and it's like that.
None of the distancing or vaccine I'm doing for me. And I'm sure that's the case for a lot of people.
I am doing it for me because, I know that if I get it... Because my immune system's fucking shot. So, I don't particularly want to get it because I know it'll kick my ass, and I don't know if there's going to be any lasting things.
Oh, yeah, I was being slightly blasé. I obviously don't want to get it because it would be...
No, I know.
But
you were daring the virus.
You're like, come get me, COVID, you big virusy bitch. But yeah, no, it's there is some self-interest there, but I don't want to kill someone's fucking grandma.
Yeah, that's the big thing. I don't really want to kill someone's nan. It
Unless
feels
they
like a bad way to
Brexit,
start an evening.
But then again, I want them to be upright facing me and armed. I don't want to get them with a virus. It just feels cheap. But yeah, so I had the AstraZeneca, which I had a bit of fun because Wib's uncle was one of the people directing the lines, because as you go into the Derby arena, they put you in like specific queues because it's in England and that's how they do things here.
All things that are just a finely arrayed series of queues. Yes.
Yes, exactly. It's a sense of normalcy for the English, and I appreciate it. You know where you are. Well, I didn't, because your uncle told me to go to get the Pfizer vaccine, and then when I sat down, the nurses were like, "Wait a fucking minute, did you had the AstraZeneca?" I'm like, "Yeah, I know," because I was like one of, if not the first person in Derby to have it, because I was there the second you realised you'd run out of the Pfizer vaccine and started running around the arena like blue-ass flies looking for like the AstraZeneca ones. And they were like, "Yeah, you need to know that you shouldn't be here. You should be getting the AstraZeneca second jab." And it's like, okay, so they take me back to your uncle, and he's like,
as you can see, startling competence runs in my family.
But no, and then I went, and the nice nurse lady who gave me my thing was so fucking done. And it's like, that's fair.
Yeah, fair.
And like, when I sat down for the Pfizer one, they had like little monster stickers for like kids, and I was like, I know my fucking head would have popped off or something if I'd had the Pfizer vaccine after having the AstraZeneca.
It's apparently mostly fine.
Yeah, whatever. They didn't want to risk it.
To not.
And like, I would have literally been like, "Can I have a monster sticker, please? I think I've been very good." But when I went to get my AstraZeneca one, they didn't have any. They just had the normal, like, look at me being the 1% of stickers.
Yeah, you're the only one that got fucking stickers. So
now I have one on my sketchbook, and I have one on the back of my phone now, and I'm very happy. Because the lady
you just
was
like stickers.
I shit for stickers. Give me more stickers.
Not if you keep shitting.
Yeah,
okay,
right.
well, give me a I stop shitting sticker. And then
You'd be shocked, but I think I might have to get those printed specifically.
Yeah, but then you like just wouldn't shit for like 3 weeks or something just to get more stickers every day, and I'd be like, this isn't healthy.
Yeah, then we'll have to get I have shit the correct amount stickers printed.
Okay, show of hands in the comments. Who would honestly buy a I have shit the correct amount today stickers? Because I fucking would.
I feel that the printing company might start asking some questions.
It's fine. I mean, they're going to be sitting there going, shit, why didn't I think of that? Because, like, I don't know what it is about stickers, but they add legitimacy to everything. It's like, you know how
especially the amount that you have shat that day.
Oh, yeah, exactly. But you know how it's like, there's certain things that give an air of authority or an air of, like, legitimizing things. It's like that. We should start giving stickers to, like, everything. Perfect. Okay. So, and like everyone in the country gets stickers who didn't vote Brexit of I didn't vote Brexit, and then there's like a cute dinosaur.
The sticker just says none of this is my fault.
Yeah,
or just, I tried.
Yeah,
can we all just get an I tried
T-Rex
sticker?
kind of like shrugging, like a clip art T-Rex shrugging, like and then all the people who voted Brexit and were being dickheads will feel bad.
No, they won't.
And then, no, because we all get really cool stickers, and they can be like holographic, so they're really fancy.
Somehow, I think
No, this would work for me.
I think the intractable, horrible problem of the just horrible splitting of British politics into this factionalized state is not going to be solved by stickers, and it breaks my heart to say so.
Okay.
In fact, I think your system may in fact make things worse.
Explain.
I will not. But I feel that we should probably move on.
I think there's something here.
No, there is not. I'm gonna have. I just want to quickly mention something that came out just before we started recording. Actually,
did it have stickers?
Not to my knowledge, but it could do. Who knows?
Hi there. Welcome to episode 126 of the MisanthroPod, the #1 sticker podcast on the internet.
I'd talk about stickers for an hour. I like stickers.
Yeah,
how are you doing, Matt Vinyl?
Yeah. Anyway, I'm going to talk about a thing. Just before this podcast has been recorded, they released a trailer for a new version of Warhammer 40,000 Kill Team.
Yeah, it looks pretty cool. I like how all of the orcs are looking really physically sexy now. They've kind of got that lifter gut, and I'm like,
They have changed their body types in the more modern models. It is true.
yeah.
But yeah, it's a fight between Deathcore Krieg and orcs.
I think you mean Korps.
The death corpse of Craig.
Which does mean
The death corpse of Craig.
oh fuck! I'm doing that now. I'm gonna make Deathcore of Craig.
The death corpse of Craig. I am a pillar of this fucking community, and you cannot convince me. I'm not a good one. I don't bear any.
No one claimed that.
No, I'm like a pillar in the Grover house. I'm like outside. There's
no weight on you
there's
whatsoever.
no weight on me, and I'm still crumbling. And everyone's just like, "What the fuck is that doing there?" And I'm
there's
like,
bare
"I'm helping."
There's bare wires running up you.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah. So they've included those. So that does kind of insinuate there's going to be plastic deathcore, which is interesting.
Of
because
Craig, yeah.
That's been something which has been rumored for literally like over a decade and has
Yeah,
never come true.
That's be careful with that rumor. It's vintage.
Yeah. So that does sort of insinuate that's what's going to be in the box set. So that's interesting.
That would be pretty cool.
And someone did point out when I mentioned it on Twitter that Krieg does have some baggage because there's a lot of people who are very big fans of Krieg, who are terrible because they think that the aesthetic that it's going for is something slightly different than it's actually intended as. But it looks like they're doing them as their standard coloration being blue coats, which makes them look more like the I believe French troops from World War I that they're actually based on, as opposed to the Nazis that people pretend they're based on.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I can telepathically sense in the future that there's one angry person who's like, actually, just because I like the German Nazi aesthetic and I celebrate Hitler's birthday every year by baking him a cake that is vanilla because anything else is bad.
He probably wouldn't have been able to eat a cake because he had real bad bowel problems and used to fart all the way through meetings.
No. He was addicted to cake
funny.
and he was constantly shitting himself because he was a big stupid bitch.
I mean, he was, yes.
Yeah.
Historically speaking.
Historically, he's a big stupid bitch. The MisanthroPod, not keen on Hitler.
That's the guarantee. That's the guarantee. The MisanthroPod will never promote Hitler.
You know, in these trying times, you can't actually be sure.
You can't be too sure.
No.
But yeah, they do have a bit of a weird. It's weird interpretation. It's less to do with their actual lore, but it's how they've been interpreted. That means
there's always there's always that small minority of absolutely just vocal shitheads that will claim things for the ultimate worst.
So it's going to
parts
be
of society.
Yeah. So it's going to be interesting to see how GW handle that as it moves.
Honestly,
forward.
Credit where credit's due, they have been kind of doing stuff. I mean, they're a company at the end of the day, so they're not going to be doing anything too dramatic. But there is a creep there that's quite heartening.
As a company, they're a mixed bag of this stuff, but the trend is to improving. The other interesting thing about that is that a new kill team might mean that it is less incomprehensible to me because. Kill Team because we never got around to actually playing the 8th edition version.
The game of Kill Team.
We never got around to playing 8th Kill Team. We got the box and everything. Although mostly what that's ended up being used for is terrain for regular games of 40k and the board we use as the background for Codex compliant episodes.
But it's a nice board and nice scenery, so in fact we have been using it, just not as intended.
Technically true.
I love technicalities.
But they obviously did a lot to Kill Team over its run in 8th of adding things to it. So hopefully they'll be able to kind of go, okay, so this is the new edition of it, and all the stuff we added to it is now just going to be part of the base rules, because when I look at Kill Team, it's like, okay, so the rules I've got state these units are available, and then I look at all the units that are actually available in Kill Team, and I go, what books do I need to own for that to be a thing?
About all of them.
I know it's not particularly complicated, but when you're looking at one big rule book and you're like, what do I need to add to this? But especially when you already have a massive shelf full of rule books, so
It's big and scary.
But yeah, so that's interesting. Maybe we'll see more by the time this podcast actually gets released.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, as we speak, literally the trailer came out like an hour ago or something.
Trailer just dropped, y'all.
Yeah. So, but yeah.
But yeah, anyway, wibble it
Hi.
just a little bit.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit.
Oh shit.
Yeah. You know how you could wibble it a lot, a bit?
Yeah.
A little bit.
A
little bit.
Little bit, like an axolotl bit?
Relax a little bit, yeah.
Yeah, just a little bit.
Okay, just a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay.
What have you been up to this last month? Fucking hell.
Yeah.
What have you been up to, my darling, my sweetheart, the apple of my eye, the Pedro of my Pascal, the fridge of my kitchen, the marrow of my bones?
Ooh.
That's grim and meaty. I like it.
Just like me. I want that on my fucking tombstone. Grim and meaty, just like Mama used to make.
So I've played some video games.
Get the fuck out.
I have played 2 actually long video games to completion.
I am horrified for when we get to my section, because I am
Okay.
going to look very fake gamer compared to you.
So, as I mentioned, I think in the last episode, I've been playing Disco Elysium. So I finished that.
You're being a pro-revolutionary communist.
I am.
You're being a pro-union communist.
I played a communist character who said sorry all the time. Because your main character needs to say sorry a lot. Because he's done a lot of bad things.
Is his name Harry?
I mean, yes, but that is technically a spoiler.
I just remember it because, Dirty Harry was a cop.
Yeah.
Clint Eastwood was so hot when he was younger, wasn't he?
We should stop talking about this and it makes it harder to bleep out the name if we decide to.
Okay.
spoiler.
I'll stop. But yeah, wasn't that actor really attractive when he was younger?
Jesus. Anyway, so I won't actually say that much about Disco Elysium, narratively or anything, because...
Is there a disco?
Yeah, disco is a...
No. Is there an actual discotheque?
Kinda, yeah.
Oh, I was being silly and cantankerous, but that's actually awesome.
Yeah, the name is actually disco. Disco
What's
is
an Elysium?
Is I forget.
It's like a space. Yeah, no, I know what it is because Sailor Moon told me. Don't worry about it. That's where Helios, the Pegasus, hangs out. It's fine. In that's where he keeps.
It is a Greek
He keeps
thing,
Mamoru's fucking golden crystal safe. Hello, and Helenia traps him there. Probably, I can't remember. Actually, it might have been Zircon. Anyway.
Yeah. So I've beaten the game. I do mean to play through it some more and try out different options because if you missed me talking about it previously, the way the game works is that 90% of it is just dialogue, and the way it manages it is that you have lots of choices to make, and some of the things that you are able to say and the chances of you being able to win a role to say some of the things are based on this absolutely dizzying array of stats you have that relate to different parts of your psyche, and different parts of your mind can talk to you. So
Rules can't. Usually, every part of my mind is just telling me, demanding that I apologize. But I fade in and out.
Yeah, you should probably listen to that. But so you'll be talking to someone, and if you're talking to another cop, you'll get your I think it's Inland Empire, which is your ability to understand cop hierarchy and culture. And so if you've got points in that, then it'll spark up and tell you things about stuff. I went with a character that was very knowledgeable, so I had an encyclopedia stat that was really high. So when people were talking about things that my character, because of having lost their memory, wouldn't know about, then the encyclopedia sparks up to give you context for some things when we'll be talking about it.
10-4, Bolo gun. I want a Bolo gun.
Not just about police stuff. That's Inland Empire. This is like for just general knowledge about the world, because you're like I say, you've got lots and lots of stats, and most of them are related to your ability to either influence people through speech or to understand and communicate with people differently throughout like bits of speech. It's really fascinating, and it's a fascinating game because it is very deeply, profoundly political.
Excuse me.
Like, it does not shy from the politics of the world. It sits there, and you can play a communist, you can play a fascist, and it doesn't hide those behind terms or illusion.
Just pretty words.
It calls them what they are. And
does it call them what they are after you've made the choice? Being like, oh, you've made like a communisty choice, or you've made a fascisty choice.
I'm sorry, I love that. You have made a communist
you know what I mean?
choice.
Like, if it just comes up with like a choice
mean.
saying, do you want to be a communist or fascist, that will influence what people choose. Whereas if it just says, do you want to do this thing or this thing, and then afterwards you find out, oh god, I'm a fascist. Or
Paragon and Renegade.
Yeah, it gives you the series of options, and it just tells you what you're going to say, and then afterwards there's a little ticker that tells you like how many decisions you made.
Yeah.
It also mocks you for being a centrist, which makes it the best video game.
Can't like communists just stop being mean to the fascists? I mean, what have the fascists ever done?
But the thing about this is that it means that because it is really open about being political, is that it means that it can talk about politics in a much more realistic and messy way. Like, there is a union in it, and you are dealing with the union, and some stuff that they're doing is good, and some stuff that they're doing is bad, and that sort of thing allows it to have a much more nuanced take on things, while still being really open with this. Like, there's a phrase from it that I was like, there is a bit where if you start being like talking like a revolutionary socialist in dialogue things, you'll get a thing saying, "Hey, do you want to spark the communist revolution?"
Yes.
Like, your inner thoughts say that, and if you go along with that, and you're like, "Okay, so what is socialism? What is the history of socialism?" And your inner monologue goes, "It is the history of failure." And if that was from a normal game, you would take that as being
a right-wing grifter.
It would be the
annoying thing.
The status quo being anti-revolutionary politics because it would be harmful to the status quo. That's how you would interpret such a thing like that. But from this game, you do sit there, and it just makes you you go, fuck. But and it's like little things like that mean that it can just do things in a much more nuanced way, and it is genuinely an amazing game. I think I mentioned this last time, content warnings for basically everything, because it is a very raw game at times, and it doesn't fuck around. I think it handles these things with delicacy, and delicacy is the wrong word, but it handles them in a way that makes them sort of necessary for the story it's telling. But there are things in there that I think would be too much for some people. Like, it deals with mental health, it deals with sexual assault, it deals with just capital P politics and violence and police overuse of power.
This
everything.
Stuff is it can take a lot of mental energy to deal with one of these topics.
Yeah.
Which is probably why, while I really do like the sound of the game, I don't think I would, at least right now, I do not have the spoons to play it.
Understandable.
And I don't know if I ever will, but that doesn't mean I think it's shit or bad, because these topics, art is a reflection of the world in which we live. So, I don't mind those kind of things coming up in media, in movies, in video games, in books, in anything like that. I just want to know it's there so I can avoid it if I don't feel like I am emotionally up to taking that in.
Yeah.
And I'm not.
Yeah. What I will say is, if you do decide to play the game, as a personal favour to me, make sure to do the cryptozoologist side quest. Just do it. You will thank me when you get the payoff. Just make sure to do it. I know some of it is kind of tedious, but just do it, okay?
People say I'm a cryptid.
I mean, there's reasons to that.
Mainly because I'm a cryptid.
Yeah, and you do get photographed out in the woods not wearing much.
What I do is between me, those trees, and God. And is legal in the countries in which it's filmed.
Okay. I'm gonna talk about a less harsh game that is much easier to talk about and not have to worry constantly about spoilers.
So this war of mine.
No, I played through the whole of Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, another game that I think I mentioned months and months ago.
Gay Reddit is obsessed with the main character of that game. Like, seriously, they love that twink.
Cal is a fun character. Actually, honestly, the characters are all pretty great.
I want to know, like, his master's pretty tasty. What's his deal? He single?
Oh, the Lasat.
Oh, he big.
So yeah, I think I mentioned it a while ago, and then I kind of played a few hours of it and then didn't get around to finishing it. So I was like, I'm gonna, especially because we had a month between things, so I'm like, you know what, I can take the time and actually like play through these games like fully, because and like I know it's silly to play games like partially, like just so you have them talk about it in a podcast, but it does sometimes. You can't help but it kind of warps your framework of like time for talking about things, and it's weird. So I thought, okay, well, I'll play through that as well. I want to beat it, and I did. I think a week ago or something, I beat it. And yeah.
But did you complete the video game?
Well, the beating it was to
Cal, obviously.
To say congratulations for beating it.
Yeah, yeah.
And if you're gonna be jacking it, it's to Grease anyway.
Grieve, is that
Grease?
Puffy? Grease?
Yes.
Grease.
Grease. He's got 4 arms.
He could. Oh my
He flies
God.
the ship.
He could quadruple fist dicks. That's fucking masterful.
Yes, he could.
But will he?
I don't know. It didn't come up in the video game.
Well, you have to ask him nicely.
There is also a character in it that is basically your soulbound character, Pavi.
Yeah, you and Longfang were talking about that.
Oh, so that's fun.
Because she's mean and horrible.
They're a night sister. They can't help it.
Drama Matt, they've been bullying me.
But yeah, having played through the full thing, now I really want to talk about the ending because the ending is so fucking cool. But I also can't talk about it because it's major spoilers.
Well, yeah, it's the fucking ending, honey.
But yeah, I think it is a very cool game. It's a weird game as well because it's like you look at it and it looks really good. Like it's
very beautiful.
A very pretty game. It captures the Star Wars aesthetic really well. It looks like a AAA video game, but it's also weirdly janky, like an indie game at times. Like there's lots of little mechanical things that are just a bit weird, and not in the way that not in the same way that like a broken AAA game, not in a Cyberpunk 2077 kind of way.
Cyberpunk is basically like Sonic 06 for dude bros.
I mean,
I've been watching Jabroni Mike play through Sonic 06, like because he live stream it.
That game is a nightmare.
That honestly, I haven't ever seen. I've seen little highlights of it and how fucked like certain things are of it, and I'm like, as an ex-game dev student, it makes me just sit there and fucking scream and lose hope.
It's pretty bad.
Jesus fucking Christ.
It's very bad, but
beginner mistakes everywhere.
So I keep on my train of thought. It's not like that kind of like a AAA disaster. It's janky in the same kind of way that like an indie game is janky. Like
endearingly janky.
Like yeah, it's janky in ways that don't really affect the overall experience. Like there'll be some animations that are a bit weird, or something that doesn't have an animation that probably should. But it feels like they just hit a certain point and they'd got this really tight video game and then they ran out of money at an exact point and there was just a few little things they couldn't sort out.
Known
and they didn't. And yeah, very little of it will ever affect you. Like, sometimes the combat feels a little bit weird, but also the game is already like a weird mix of things. So you start playing it and you go, well, this is kind of like you sort of standard action adventure kind of third person game. But its combat works very much like Dark Souls, and you go, okay, that's an interesting mix of those two things. Like, to have a more arcadey feel to harsh Dark Souls combat, and obviously using a lightsaber, and you unlock lightsaber skills. You can like fucking hurl a lightsaber, and you can customize your lightsaber, which is the fucking raddest shit.
That is so fucking cool, though.
And that's all really fun. Then you start getting to the parts and you go, this is Sonic the Hedgehog also.
Which one? Sonic Adventure?
Really Sonic Adventure, but there is a section on where you go to Kashyyyk, the home planet of the Wookiees.
I know what Kashyyyk is.
And you bounce off mushrooms.
The bollocks shrooms!
Like you're bouncing off mushrooms in Sonic 3. Oh, sorry, Sonic and Knuckles.
Yeah, Sonic and Knuckles. That was the game my brother and I had, and we when you jump on the mushrooms, they make a noise, and it sounds like the word bollocks, which is
very much does.
Which is English slang for testicles.
It is,
and it was very funny to my brother and I, who didn't know what that word meant in Australia, and my mother was just going fucking shouting at us, going, "Stop swearing! Stop saying that! No, it's a bad word." We were like, bollocks. Yeah, it's like my brother hit on the table during dinner, and she was like, "Where's your brother gone?" And he just went, bollocks, under the table, and she was like, "I swear to God, Alistair, you come out right now."
Strong Al energy, yes.
Very big Al energy.
Yeah. But yeah, so we'll have parts where you're bouncing from mushroom to mushroom and then landing on like these large ramps where you're essentially doing a Sonic Speed section.
Meanwhile, there's
while
like
sliding
rap,
down.
There's rap going on. It's like, "My name is Cal, and I'm in Pumpkin Hill."
There is like some in-universe Star Wars rock music featured in a couple of times, which is actually really cool.
That's very cool.
Ow!
Sorry, I just scratched my 5G implant. Oh.
You probably shouldn't have done that.
Yeah, I probably shouldn't.
Yeah.
I hope it doesn't mess up my signal.
But yeah, it has it does have a few like fun cameos and things from characters, which is very cool. There's a section where you're like, with the section where you land on Kashyyyk and you fucking take over an AT-AT. That is the raddest shit.
That sounds very cool.
Yeah.
That sounds very
It's
cool.
especially cool because there is a version of that inside Star Wars Battlefront 2 that is shit.
Yeah.
And like I think that game's kind of cool, but like the version of it in that is shit, and this is basically the really good version of that.
I love Star Wars Battlefront 2, the story mode.
Yeah.
That I'm probably not going to play again. Also, the lady, I can't remember her name. The main character woman in it. I am like Wikipedia, her actress, she has done everything and she's super fucking
She's
smart.
Like a puppeteer, isn't she?
She was a puppeteer on The Mandalorian. She wrote like an algorithm that will help celebrities manage their social media profiles. She's like a classically trained like musician. She's done so much. She's amazing.
Just one of those aggravatingly talented people.
She's like Drama Matt. She's so annoyingly fucking talented. Sorry, Drama Matt.
But yeah, so
deal with it.
Fallen Order is really cool, and it does some fun stuff with like Jedi and
my character from Soulbound.
Yeah, and like how you mess around with lightsabers and stuff is very fun, and it's a cool game. It's a cool game. I enjoyed it a lot. I can definitely recommend it, and it also does like a lot of modern Star Wars stuff that deals with stuff of around that era. It does stuff with Order 66 that is a nice expansion of a somewhat like what's the word, like lightly touched upon thing that just happens at the end of one of the movies.
Scantily explored.
Yeah, because they didn't have the time, and if they explored it more, it would drag the movie's like pace down so much. So I understand why they didn't, but like media since then has covered it more interestingly and covered the wider ramifications of it, which is very cool. Speaking of which, I've also been carrying on watching The Bad Batch, which continues to be a delight. Fucking love The Bad Batch. It's great.
I kind of just want to absorb the concept of Wrecker into my skin.
I get that. He's a very cool character. But yeah, it's a really, really cool series. Again, I don't want to spoil anything.
I need to get through Clone Wars.
You do. That's the thing. Because there's been... I have to wait a week between episodes of The Bad Batch. I ended up watching the entirety of Star Wars Rebels again. And I've started watching...
This is why Disney's doing it!
And I started watching... I started watching the Clone Wars again, but I started at, like, the end of Season 4, which is around the time that the show gets real good.
It is good to start with, but then it gets real good.
Yeah. So I'm up to the last season again, which is coincidentally the episode I'm on is actually the one where the Bad Batch show up. So yeah,
I love how every time you describe the Bad Batch to me, you're like, okay, so the main guy, he's like, you know, the sniper's like Rambo wig from TF2, and I'm like, yeah, he's like, yeah, he's that without the glasses, and I'm like, oh, okay, I get it. And I can just
Hunter,
immediately see him in my mind's eye.
Just that's what he looks like to me. He's got like a skull tattoo on his face. But...
I thought that was like a scar.
No, it's a tattoo. No, it's actually a thing about the clones that they sort of did throughout the Clone Wars.
They have tattoos and weird hair, I know.
Yeah,
just to kind of differentiate.
To differentiate, and they started all having like, lots of them started getting like facial tattoos and things.
In the eyes of the Force, they are all very different.
Oh yes,
I love that. That was such a good fucking line from like the first episode of Clone Wars. Yeah. So good.
When it occurs chronologically, I have no fucking idea because the chronological order of the Clone Wars is a nightmare.
It's like I was like, okay, that's cool, and then like because Longfang and I have been watching it through together, and we get to an episode where it's just Obi-Wan and Anakin, and I'm like, where the fuck is Ahsoka? And he's like, oh, this happened before, and I'm like, where is the fucking indication? That's my biggest issue with it.
Yeah, the movie's not even... The movie that was, like, the pilot for it isn't even the earliest chronological thing.
Yeah, it's just like, dude, you are, like, deliberately trying to fuck with my brain.
It's very weird.
Anyway.
But yeah, very, very cool. And speaking of shows exclusive to the Disney Plus service, I have been watching Loki. Have you been watching Loki, Matt?
No, I still haven't got Disney Plus.
Oh, okay.
I've got I'm getting a more and more dramatically long list of things that I want to watch on it, so I will do it at some point, but...
What's The Mandalorian? It's got...
Yep.
As if I need any fucking help talking about that fucking... We had a guy over the other day to check, to fit a meter for, like, our gas and electric.
Yeah, the pause you did there made it sound like he was coming over for something else.
Yeah, he could check my gas and electric, but I was out and about, so I was having a girly day. But yeah, and apparently he was, quote from Wib here, very amused to see all of the Star Wars bullshit I have just accrued. It's like, I got this gorgeous fucking, like, piece of, like it's like a watercolor painting of a porg that's framed in our entryway that just is a little porg saying, hello, I am stressed. And I'm like, that is such a fucking mood.
Yeah, he was quite amused by that. But
you'd have to have you'd have to be dead inside not to be amused by that. So.
Yeah. But yeah, so Loki is an interesting series. It does have flaws.
Well, I would hope so, because where are the actors supposed to stand?
You wonder why my segments take a long time.
Yeah, because you won't shut up, and I get bored with my fucking maybe ADHD brain. We don't know yet. You haven't sent off the forms to file for ADHD brain. Wouldn't that be weird if you did that?
Anyway, a lot of people seem to have some problems with it, like to do with like episodes being like kind of boring and dragging and like. And things to do with like cinematography and the lighting, which honestly these things haven't bothered me personally, but I do get where people are coming from. But the show's just done a lot of weird shit, and like I'm kind of on board with it, because like the basic conceit is that, so during the time heist in Endgame,
fucking whatever the last movie's called,
and Loki bamfs away with the Tesseract. Basically, the Time Cops catch him because time travel is not like
He's been knocking.
illegal or anything, but time travel that wasn't supposed to happen is. And indeed, anything that's not supposed to happen is bad for the sacred timeline of the universe. And so there's this shadowy group that travels throughout time, pruning timelines that separate from this
That's
sacred
like
timeline.
Doctor Who SCP.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Oh.
Yes.
Oh.
Really remind.
You know,
like,
it's weird whenever you tell me I'm correct about something. I kind of want to hold on to this.
there's a
feeling.
couple of episodes that have got real strong Doctor Who vibes, and the whole thing has a kind of SCP vibe.
Nice.
Although more accurately, for me, I get more of a sort of whimsical Control vibe. The video
Well, I mean,
game
Control is very SCP.
Yeah.
Which, honestly, I like the SCP kind of thing. I like it as, like, an idea. It's fantastic. And there's, like... There's like, for every Mallow, which I just like because, like, the art they stole for it was, like, a really cool fursuit with a skull face.
Okay.
For every good SCP, there's the Infinite Cake SCP that... It was like, oh, if this isn't eaten, then within 2 days it would cover the entire Earth's surface. And it's like, get fucked.
I know, I don't see a problem here.
It's like, okay... Like,
Infinite cake, that seems like that will
just
solve a
fucking
lot of
cure
issues.
world hunger. It's not gonna... It's like, people won't be hungry, they won't be fucking nourished, but they won't be hungry.
Diabetes will skyrocket, but hunger will be
Well,
solved.
I mean, carrot cake's, like, basically a salad. It's got fucking carrots in it.
Anyway, Loki. So yeah, it has that kind of interesting vibe to it, and it does some things with it that are cool, some things that are less cool, and I don't want to give things away again because there's some of the things it does are just very fun and interesting, and there's some stuff it does that kind of robs it of being quite as cool as it could have been, but you know, we are dealing with Marvel here. So I guess I'll have to wait until to see how the whole thing wraps up to see how I compare it to other shows. I like it a lot better than Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I can say that much.
I could understand.
Like I'll have to see the whole thing to see how I compare it to WandaVision, because WandaVision was I really like WandaVision. End wasn't as strong. This we'll have to see how it kind of wraps up, but it's had a lot of fun moments. So yeah, Loki's cool. Give it a watch, but just be aware, some people have a lot of issues with it, and I don't think they're wrong. They just don't bother me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that makes sense.
And the final thing I shall mention is that I watched the whole of the Netflix Godzilla anime that came out called Singular Point. And
Is there a point to this?
yes, it's a podcast where we talk about the media that we have consumed, and so me talking about media I consumed is in a way the point of the podcast.
Yeah, singular
I'm not
point.
sure it is anymore, but yeah, fine.
Yeah, I mean, well, it's really just a net
I
series,
opened
isn't
up
it?
for an absolutely gut-splitting joke, and you completely just ignored it. So yeah, perfect.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that is this podcast, really, isn't it?
Yeah, me being a comedic genius and you're just fucking disappointing me.
Us sandbagging you.
Yeah, really.
Yeah. But yeah, Godzilla Singular Point is a really interesting example of an adaptation. Because I've talked about this in videos and things before, but the Godzilla canon is a fucking weird thing. As in, there are like several distinct timelines within it. Most of them share the original 1954 film as being like one set bit of timeline, but there's a couple that don't. Like Shin Godzilla, the last movie, didn't. Or the last live action movie. Because there was those other Netflix anime movie length things that
I've heard all of them are bad.
I've actually heard that the second two were much more interesting, but I nearly fell asleep watching the first one, so I never got around to watching the others.
I fell asleep towards the second, like halfway through the second episode of Narcos. I think it was because there wasn't as much Javier Pena as I would have liked, and I just haven't watched it since. I'm just like,
Fair.
this is boring.
But
So don't worry, it's okay.
But this is the opposite of boring. If anything, it is too much.
It is too what's the not boring? Yeah.
Yes,
No.
it's borant. That's my new word. Copywriting it. If you put that on a t-shirt, you have to pay me.
Boring.
No one is going to put it on a t-shirt.
Boring.
Terrible.
It sounds like something you clean a fucking sink
It very
with.
much does.
It's like, oh god, the sink's all backed up. Do you have any borant, Barbara?
But anyway, so singular point.
Bald Barbara is the worst superhero.
Hi, I'm Borant Barbara, and I have strange coloured hair. It's like more red than is natural, and then that's it.
Speaking of unnatural red, that is actually a thing within Godzilla's singular point because Rodans.
What, Borant?
Rodans start showing up and are all covered in this like red sand.
Oh my god, it's Barbara Borant.
This is the last thing I have to talk about. If I get to the end of this, then you can talk about the shit all you want.
I can't because anytime I talk, there's like an egg timer that goes off in your eyes that I can see, which is a countdown to telling me to shut the fuck up, move the fuck on, or stay the fuck on point.
I mean, I just made up a silly word for an offhand thing, and we've been talking about it for 2 minutes.
Because it's a good word, honey.
I'm not sure
You're
is.
the Shakespeare of words.
Anyway, there is red all over these Rodans. There are lots of Rodans. Then other robots, other kaiju start showing up, like Anguirus and Manda. They start showing up. And
Amanda,
there's this group that has built their own robot to fight things, and they have Jet Jaguar from fucking Godzilla vs Megalon, the stupidest fucking mech.
Isn't that the ending where he just steals a child?
No, but also yes.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
And he gets his own theme tune, which is great.
Jaguar.
Yeah. And yeah, Jet Jaguar is kind of the main hero of this,
that is
which
wrong.
is great. But the show does have a slight problem in that. So I always watch Japanese or indeed any foreign language thing. I will watch at least my very first time. I'll watch it with subtitles on. Because I always like to get the vibe of the original thing down.
It's
and it is I know some people can have problems reading and paying attention to things at the same time, but it is kind of a skill that you can.
I mean, I kind of just thought everyone could do it, but then again, I am partially deaf, and that's just if I want to watch something, and I for a very long time I didn't have hearing aids, so it was just. Oh, I literally can't hear 80% of this movie unless I put subtitles on.
I will say I think there is a difference between watching something in English with English subtitles and watching something in another language with English subtitles.
Yeah, but I'm saying that would have primed me.
True.
So...
But yeah, so I'll always watch things like that, and I don't have a problem with it. I know it's like it is something that not everyone is able to do, but that is how I watch these things. However, this strained my ability to do it because large sections of it are two characters texting each other and speaking very, very fast over incredibly dense technobabble.
Darling.
It's not that complicated when you get right down to it, but in the moment when you're trying to piece together what the fuck they're talking about, it's all I could do was to keep up with reading it. It was like in fucking Excel Saga when she goes on those weird rants and and some other people are talking and then the subtitles are in the corner reeling off what she's saying really quickly.
Do you think that's how some people feel like when they listen to me speak?
That it desperately needs subtitles.
And then it would just be more confusing.
I can't speak to that because I live with you and I'm used to this.
Okay, fine. Alright. I was going to say something, but now I can't remember because I'm so emotionally hurt.
However, Godzilla Singular Point is, because it does this, I would not blame anyone for watching it dubbed for that reason. you would probably take in some of its nonsense a lot easier. But the interesting thing is, it doesn't have any connection to old Godzilla canon. It's a whole new thing. It does borrow some things from Shin Godzilla. It borrows some things I feel it borrows some things from the 90s Gamera trilogy. As well as lots of other things it's kind of borrowing from, and it ends up making this its own thing that is completely unrelated, and I kind of appreciate that, because Godzilla is something that has had so many movies and so many adaptations that we've seen the same ideas iterated upon a million times. And there's several movies, there's 4 movies with King Ghidorah in that I have to watch them to remember which one is which from the 60s. And so them actually going, okay, we could make a really safe, just anime adaptation of Godzilla that uses all the same things that it would normally do. You've got all the same monsters doing the same things, and we just have a regular cast of humans running through that. You make it like a fucking Ultra Q, but Godzilla's always around. That's a reference for very specific people.
Basically, me whomst you live with.
Yeah. They could do something like that, but instead they chose to do this fucking absolute nonsense.
I like nonsense. Shake that shit up.
And also, I think they were aware of exactly how cool Godzilla destroying the city in Shin Godzilla was, because
that was so cool.
Because they basically remake that scene in it.
Fucking so cool.
They also reintroduced the monster of Gabra, who is a terrible monster from a terrible Godzilla film, but they recontextualize and do something different with it.
Do you know what Gabra actually means in Japanese?
No.
Because I did a year of Japanese at one of my primary schools. It means shit monster for twats.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which is that's not only the direct translation, but the localization as well.
Because, he's from All Monsters Attack, which is the one that technically occurs mostly within the imagination of a child. So it's not even canon with the canon of Godzilla at the time.
Yeah.
It's and it's not a good movie either.
Oh, no one's ever accused...
It's mostly stock footage as well.
Great.
It's not great. But, Singular Point... It's got a lot going on. Give it a watch. If you're into Godzilla stuff, it will have a lot of little nods to characters that thing seems to be a mashup of lots of different monsters. That's interesting. It had a Hedorah head for a moment there. That's fun for me, the one person who unironically likes Godzilla versus the Smog Monster.
I'm about to say, that's the lobster. No, not the lobster. That's Ibara. Ibara.
It's the pronunciation of that one changes depending on which one you're looking at.
Yeah. Made up words are hard.
Yeah, but no, it's Godzilla's the Smog Monster, which has Hedorah.
Yeah.
Godzilla Singular Point, fucking weird. Give it a watch if you're into Godzilla. I don't know how comprehensible it would be if you are not, but then also it doesn't really have much to do with old Godzilla either. It's more you won't notice the nods as much.
So it sounds like it's doing it right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds fun.
But it is also fucking nonsense.
It's anime.
Capital N nonsense. But that's what I have been doing. So I am now going to pass over to the Drummond Matthew and ask the Drummond Matthew, what have you been doing in the last month?
Yeah, Drummond Matthew.
So,
gay lass.
So you see, we moved these podcasts to a month, and I was like, okay, this is great. This is great for my mental health. This is all good. And I was like, even better, side bonus of this is that I might actually have something to talk about. The downside of it being a month since the last podcast is that I can't remember what I've done because it's been so fucking long since I did it.
You need to have notes on your phone.
I know, I do. I really do. I kept meaning to go, I'll jot this down. It's like, I won't forget, it's fine. But obviously I have.
But then you did.
So
to be fair, I have been really shit for keeping notes on what I've been doing. So I literally have 3.
Yeah, well, I can remember something. So mostly what I've been doing since the last podcast recording is watching football, but I'm very aware that the subset of people who listen to this podcast and also want to hear me talk about football is like entirely Wib's dad, basically. So
Hi, Kev. Congrats or condolences on football.
Congrats so far, but depending on when this comes out, it might not be. So
I literally walked past on
also,
my way
to get vaccinated. From, but...
Yeah, to get vaccinated today is literally the building next to like the like Derby County football stadium.
Yeah,
and there's like Brian.
Which for legal reasons is not owned by Derby County Football Club, but let's not go into that.
Let's not go into that. But yeah, there's like a statue of two fucking like bronze dickheads or something outside, which is a Pokemon gym, which I had a Pokemon in, so I know
By the way,
all about football.
It's pronounced Brian Clough.
Clough.
Yeah.
Clow. Clough.
It's pronounced Brian Clough.
I
know.
Anywho.
Fucking okay. I hate England. I fucking hate the only fucking thing I can pronounce here is the city I live in and the actual name of the country, England. Fuck.
If you want to feel a bit better about it, in this house it's Brian Cloth, because whenever we get a cloth to wipe anything up with, they're called Brian's now because it's a really, really bad tenuous pun.
Perfect. Excellent.
I actually, I remember like being like a teenager and being like, good parent, because I was apparently American when I was a teenager.
Yeah, apparently.
And I was like, God, like adults are so lame with their stupid puns, and now I'm like an adult and I'm like, time to torture some teenagers. Oh no, okay, I'm still mad about the phalanx incident.
Okay, we're moving on from that. Matt, carry on.
All right, so what I am gonna go into, which is related to football, is because I've been watching so much. I was like, I should get a FIFA game, and I know FIFA games. It's a whole thing.
Dude, if you enjoy it, then fucking do it.
Nah, well, what I'm gonna say is that it's so much worse than I've remembered.
They've been getting worse and worse, and it's so much microtransactions and shit.
Yeah, but it's not even that. So I bought FIFA 21 for the Switch. And the last FIFA I had, it would have been probably 11 or 12, because they're named after the season that they're in. So it was probably close to 10 years ago. But I bought it for the Switch. So FIFA 21 is actually FIFA 21 Legacy Edition.
Oh no.
So guess what that means?
It means everything's shit, but you still have to pay a lot of money.
Well, yeah, in essence, yeah. It means it is exactly the same game as FIFA 20, but you get the new kits and new players and stuff.
Oh.
But it's literally, they're not even like, it's, because, I mean, you could argue that every year it's basically the same game, but there is like new modes or like slight graphical or mechanical tweaks, or they do some stuff to progress it year on year.
It's not just
not much. But no, FIFA Legacy Edition is literally, it says on the box, no new features, no new anything, just new kits. And do you want to know what rubs salt in the wound with that? What? FIFA 20 is also FIFA 20 Legacy Edition, which is the same fucking game as FIFA 19.
Oh my fucking god, no way.
Yeah, which is actually fine for me because it's the end of the season and it was on an offer for like a tenner rather than, full price. And also I haven't owned the previous two games. But I feel sorry for anyone who doesn't realise, because it says it's quite clear on the box, but if you're just like, buying
the thing
it online
is, if it's saying FIFA 21, you go, okay, that's this FIFA that I want.
It's not the previous game with a fresh coat of paint.
That's really fucking...
Yeah, so
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, right? So, yeah, I've been quite enjoying playing it because I paid a tenner for it and I don't have the previous two, but I would be pissed off if I had. Especially because, it's not like that on any other console. It's just the Switch for whatever reason. And I guess, it doesn't have the same graphical capabilities, blah, blah, blah. But there's no reason you couldn't put the new modes in it or whatever.
Sheer laziness.
I don't know. Yeah, so that's been an interesting one to sort of read about and go, what does Legacy Edition mean?
It means you get to eat shit.
It's the we fuck you in the ass edition and expect you to thank us for it.
I know, and I still paid for it, so I feel a little bit bad, but I've been quite enjoying it. So.
Well, I mean, as long as you're enjoying it, dude. But fucking buyer beware, holy shit.
But yeah, I thought it was interesting to link, just in case you were, you were starting to, for some reason, doubt your opinion that most people have that FIFA games are kind of the same every year, and EA are a bunch of shits. Just in case you were doubting that for any reason.
Football games peaked at the Euro '98 tie-in game.
Road to World Cup '98. That's what it was all about.
What the fuck is that?
It was the starting a trend. There was a FIFA 98 and then there was a Road to World Cup 98, which was the same game but with the different kits for the World Cup. but that's the one I happened to have as a kid. So,
So you had the special one.
Yeah, I played the France '98 game a fair bit around a friend's house, and because I remember it because it had the little it was the European Cup one, wasn't it?
Are you looking at me? Yeah. I am fucking.
But it had they had a mascot that was like a little bird that had like a red head and like a blue body.
That rings a bell.
Look, kind of like Woody Woodpecker, but like less anarchic.
No, then I don't care.
And so I always remember him being in like the corner of, and like them having like an animated version of him in the corner of the game at some point.
Okay.
So that's why that particular game always sticks in my mind. As far as football games go, anyway.
Well, I done learn something today.
So yeah.
What else have I been playing? Oh, so I finally got round to playing Super Hot on the whole VR thingy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you can't have a conversation about that. Oh, it is. I was expecting it to be good, so I was going in with high standards, and like it's so far exceeded them. It works
good.
So much better than you expect it to.
Yeah, it really fucking does.
My brain still hasn't dealt with it though, because like I still like there's a bullet coming towards me, like okay, stay still, and I can slowly dodge, and it's fine. But if you just like turn your head and see another one coming to you, and like oh shit, a bullet, and then you move really quickly to get out of the way. Like my brain can just not deal with that. Apparently,
I get this thing when I play it where when I get like hit with a bullet or whatever, I kind of wince. So I'm like, oh, I shot this guy and I started crouching, but then I got a bullet in the neck and I'm like, because you're like, I just get really into it. It's so fucking fun. It's so good. And it does feel so good. Because like before that, I can't remember what I played before that, because we played like the demo for it just to test the headset. And we were like, this feels amazing. It feels so responsive and so good, and you so quickly slip into it, and it just feels very natural.
I am eternally fascinated by how Super Hot is a collection of 3 games, 2 of which are some of the best like short shooter experiences that exist, and one of them is really mediocre.
That's Mind Control Delete, which I really didn't like.
The middle one is the answer to what if you wanted more Super Hot but you didn't care about it being creative.
Yeah, it's give it a miss.
If you had never played Super Hot, you would still get a lot of joy out of it, but if you had played through the whole of the first Super Hot, you go, wow, this is just the same thing
but
again.
Kind of not as fun.
Yeah. And then the VR one is just fucking great.
Oh, it genuinely feels awesome. I'm glad you've got to play it, dude, because damn, is it fun.
Yeah, I'm having.
Have you had like sore leggies from playing it too much?
No, not too bad actually. Yeah, no, it's all
because I remember that was a thing when Wib and I did a stream, and like we played some Super Hot. We played some Half-Life Alyx.
Yeah.
You still need to get on that.
It is good. But yeah, I need to get back on that.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Ditto.
I literally spent like 15 minutes drawing dicks on glass. So, you know,
Yeah, I mean,
honestly,
that's-
10
I think
out of 10.
Yeah.
Who amongst us?
Hoomst! It's like there's a part where you go down into a basement and there's a bunch of combines standing outside that you can see out of like the street side windows. And I just started drawing dicks and arrows pointing to them, and I felt really anarchist. It was awesome. I was like, yeah, fuck 12.
You are a wiener.
A wiener, it is you. It's like, you know that part, and this is really kind of going back, where from the Ali G movie.
Fucking hell. Okay.
Right.
Where he's in his fucking like Ford car with his mate, who's played by Bilbo Baggins. The actual Bilbo Baggins.
He is played by...
But yeah, and they're like...
Martin Freeman?
I think it's Martin Freeman.
Yeah.
And like the police are like
He's in that, I
opposite.
forgot that.
Yeah, Martin Freeman is in the Ali G movie.
Yeah, he is,
Wow.
and he's like sat there in the car with Ali G, and then like there's like a cop car like on the other side that's parked up next to them in like, the traffic lights, and he's like, oh no, the LAPD, man, check it out. And just under the window, he's like, he just flips them off, and like they both start just going, oh yeah, man, yeah, because that's like hiding the flip off.
Yeah.
And it was like, yeah, that's basically it.
Yeah.
And I love it.
Yeah.
Perfect. I can't even remember what I was referencing. I am consumed. And then they win at the end by doing the fucking worm. What is it? The arm worm. With like all the like
they're doing the body popping.
Yeah, all the gangsters like hold hands and line up, and then there's like
I think
there's like an electrical charge from like the car battery all the way into this window.
Fucking hell! The one thing I always remember from that
is
movie,
that woman shaped a pussy.
I don't remember that now.
Well, he like there's like a woman who's trying to like seduce Ali G for some fucking stupid reason, and like. She's like seducing him in like his nan's front room, which is the most English fucking thing. And he like pulls her underwear down, and it's like this big fucking angelic shine, and he's like, a shaven haven, respect. And then I think his girlfriend walks in and starts like getting it. They also fuck in a car, and he literally jizzes in like 2 seconds, and there's the whole kind of like, oh, we'll put this joke in for like the 14-year-olds who think they're being really adult watching this movie, and just the girlfriend's like, have you put it in yet, babe? And he's like fucking literally having a coronary, and I'm like, Jesus Christ, why do I remember so much about this fucking movie?
The only part I remembered before you introduced me to this flashback trauma.
Also, the head of the rival like chav group was so hot. He was so hot.
I literally the only part I remember.
West Side is the best.
The only one I remember, the only part I remember when you're done throwing things around the desk. The only part I've been trying to say this sentence for 2 minutes.
No, you haven't. That's probably closer to 1.5, but sure.
The only part I remember is he insists that everyone shows up to the final thing wearing camouflage so they won't be seen, and they all show up wearing those like bright neon-coloured day-glow camouflage that was kind of popular
like
for a while in like the early
yeah.
2000s.
Yeah, it was pretty fun. And then like he texts the leader of like the West Side like gang, and he uses like super text speak, and the guy doesn't understand, so he comes out to the car and is like, what the fuck did your text messages say? And he was like, I was trying to save time. We need to get the batteries. And he's like,
such
okay.
a movie of its time.
It really is.
I imagine...
I kind of want to go back to it, just because... No, I don't, because I'll be cringing so hard I'll break teeth.
I imagine that every joke
curious.
you remember going like, well, it was kind of bad, but you know, it was like it could have been worse. At the time, that was normal, and you'd watch it now and go like, oh,
even for the time, it was a bit shit.
Ooh,
It's kind of edgy humor for kids.
Yeah, I remember seeing it like a grand total of once and going like, huh.
I mean, I watched the talk show because I was like, ha ha ha, funny man say pee pee.
Yeah.
But
Matt, you were talking about Super Hot VR before we went on this extended tangent about that Ali G movie.
Yeah.
A movie that I'm sure will be forefront of the minds of our listeners.
Yeah, like that 90% of them who don't even fucking know what Ali G is.
Yeah. If you don't know what Ali G was...
That's Borat before he became Borat.
Wasn't Borat actually a character within the Ali G show?
He was, yeah.
Oh, fucking hell.
Yeah.
Anyway.
The tangled webs we weave.
Well, I was going to say more things, but I don't know what they were anymore.
Oh, shit, dude.
No, it's fine. I've forgotten. But I will hand over to Snipe and see if you manage to tangent and like disrupt your own section less than you have with us. Let's see. Let's see how you do.
Okay. I saw a guy today who looked like Randy Macho Man Savage.
Okay.
I mean, that's
He
pretty
literally...
cool.
I mean, the thing is, he was a foot shorter than me, and he looked very angry about that.
Was he like a... What was he like a failed clone of Randy Savage?
I didn't stop to ask because it looked like he'd be like, "Ooh, yeah," and he'd fucking kill me or something. He at least tried.
Like they got him and they messed up the scaling and they're like, oh, we created mini Randy.
And now we're talking about Austin fucking Powers.
I wasn't actually making a
There
direct
was a
reference to
football
that.
sticker I saw. There's been like don't laugh at me. Don't laugh at me tangenting.
Yeah, I was about to say, when you said about tangents,
there's
a
like
minute
an
ago.
anti-fascist bunch of football fans that come over from Germany and put a bunch of stickers everywhere whenever there's like a match on. It's really fun to see them because half of them is just like in German and like a boot kicking like a swastika and breaking it or whatever.
Good.
And then the other half is like memes. So there's one with Leonardo DiCaprio, where he's like drinking wine, like being like, like having a laugh.
Yeah.
And then there's, I forgot what it was already. Macho Man Savage. Shut up, I'm probably neurodivergent.
The best tangents are the ones that
Unconfirmed.
lose steam halfway and you forget where you were going.
There's
Do you want to talk about what you've actually been doing as opposed to the people and things what you've seen in town?
I saw a guy on a treadmill who literally looked like an upside-down Tetris block.
Cool.
He was fascinating.
What have you been watching
No,
and
he
or
looked like
playing?
the upside-down L because he was on his phone while he was running, and I was like, that's a great way to die, dude. But yeah.
What have you been watching and or playing?
Okay, so, first of all, it was my birthday last month.
It was, yes.
I turned 26.
No, you didn't.
Okay, 27.
No, you didn't. You don't have to say the age, but I will tell people when you're lying.
But I only speak the truth. Yeah. But yeah, and I got a lot of lovely presents, and I got one that I would like to talk about specifically on the podcast.
Okie dokie.
I don't know if you've seen it, but
Depends which one you're about to say.
Groxink
Yes.
collaborated and got a bunch of money together to get David Hayter, Solid Snake himself, to basically wish me happy birthday in Solid Snake's voice on his cameo. And I literally spent the next 2 days crying. I honestly, I watched it again yesterday and I was still crying because honestly, it's literally the best gift I have ever received. It was so fucking thoughtful. It was because we were talking to Longfang on Discord, and Longfang was like, Wib, get over here. There's a thing for Snipe's birthday. Like, make sure she turns around, So, yeah. And then while my back was turned, Wib started playing it, and I heard David Hayter in Solid Snake's voice being like, Snipe! Snipe! And I was like, I don't even know what my face was like when I turned around. The next, couple of minutes were a fucking blur of just... and I literally was just sobbing. Just in a good way before anyone's like, oh no, was it bad? It's like, no, it was literally the best thing I've ever been given. And... he says he's proud of me and stuff, and he's wishing me a good year, and oh my god, I'm getting emotional just fucking recalling it. It was so fucking amazing.
You have a lot of personal history of playing the games, and they're very important bits of media to
Metal
you.
Gear is so important to me. That is... I couldn't list all the ways in which... there's no words to describe just how fucking important Metal Gear Solid is to me. And David Hayter and Solid Snake by extension. And it's just... yeah, I was a mess. And yeah, just talking about it kind of...
It's okay.
Beautiful, just so thoughtful and so lovely. Allergies. But yeah, and that was so beautiful, and I liked it a lot. I guess it was fine. And now I'm going to talk about the game I've played, because my mental health has been pretty poor. Not been having a good one. So I've just been falling back and playing comfort games, but I did force myself to play a new game.
What I like is how the game that you selected is a game that I believe I did the exact same thing with about 6 months ago and came on here to talk about.
I can't even remember. I just saw it in the game list and I was like, yeah.
Understandable. I had the same reaction.
Yeah. I played like half an hour of Hentai Shooter 3D, which controls like fucking shit, looks like shit, sounds like shit, and if I ever find the people who fucking made this, I'm gonna kick them in the shit. Because it's so fucking terrible. It is obviously just we can just trick kids into buying this thinking that there's like boobies in it.
This is the one that, if I'm remembering it correctly...
It's like fucking Wolfenstein, where like
it doesn't
there
even
are
deserve
strafe buttons.
It doesn't even deserve to be called a Doom clone.
No, it doesn't.
It's a Wolfenstein clone.
And like, it's just like PNGs of like the same anime woman. There's like two and like the second like one where she's moving, because there's literally two. It's like she has 2 frames, this bikini woman, and in the second frame they forgot to cut out a pixel over to the far right, and it's like that about sums up the fucking game.
Yeah.
And like,
you can get DLC to make them naked, if I remember correctly. If that was something you really want.
They're so fucking like there's so many fucking compression errors and everything. It's
personally,
ugly. It's ugly. I'm gonna kill them. Give me $200.
If I'm gonna look at porn, I want it to be a horrible compressed resolution inside a 2.5D shooter.
The thing is, I played it for 10 minutes before I realized there was a shoot button. You pick up a pickle and it's just like the guy who made it or someone just basically jacking off into a fucking microphone, being like, "Oh yeah, ooh," and I'm like, is he jerking off?
He's jerking the gherkin, yeah.
Is he jerking the gherkin?
He's jerking the gherkin.
And you have just like a pickle.
He's got a skanking pickle.
That's not a phrase, is it?
Jerking the gherkin is, yeah.
Jerking the gherkin.
Yeah. I first heard it watching a MGS2, speaking of MGS2, like Codex, like, clip, and I'm not going to talk about which one.
Codec.
Welcome to Codec compliant. I should do that. Probably, whatever.
I just realised that I'm like, wow, you've had to say the word codex far too much in your life at this point.
Yeah. But no, like, Longfang will know which part I'm talking about. And he'll go, "Of course, Snipe. Of course you were watching that on YouTube." But yeah, and like, I didn't, because they basically cut, like, I was like, okay, I was left clicking and stuff, and I pressed all the buttons, and I was like, okay, nothing's really happening. And like the PNG women will come up to you and just stand crotch in front of you because you're literally half their size, because scaling is hard. And I was just like, okay. And like there's no clipping with the moms with the fucking hentai girls. So I got trapped in a corridor between like a succubus and like 47 of this like one anime bikini girl, and I was like, they're not even making any noises. They're just kind of just there, and you can't move.
I was hoping they make like pinky growls.
Yeah. That would be if they did a little like pinky snuffle.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. And then I was like, okay, I'm quitting this fucking game. And I was like, and I sat there looking at the desktop for like a couple of seconds, and I was like, there was controls on like the opening menu that I couldn't go back to, so I just booted up again. Yeah, it's like it's right control or something. So I had to play it cross-handed.
Oh yeah, it uses like really old school controls, doesn't it?
No, it uses wrong controls.
Well, it uses wrong old school controls.
Yeah, so it should be. This is how it used to play back in the day, because I started using computers before mice were a fucking thing. That's when I first started playing Doom. And you would use the arrow keys to move around. You would use the space bar to open things and like the control button to shoot. That was Yeah, and then
Was that like the default layout?
Yeah, that was like the default layout.
I only played Doom like once mouse, because I know that when it's a computer mouse, it's technically mouses.
But I feel that like the same person who like invented GIFs, who says, "Oh no, it's GIF." No one gives a fuck what you think. Go away.
Yeah, it's definitely the plural of computer mouse is computer mice. Yes, definitely.
Yes, it just is.
I don't care.
Fuck off. Yeah.
But yeah, I started playing. The first time I played Doom was once. Like mice were just really common, so like I'd never really experienced shooters before that.
I started playing Doom before mice were really common at all. Then we got a mouse. This is back, kids, when mice had one button. And they were that gross tobacco-stained off-white.
That might just be your house.
I did live with
I don't know,
two chain smokers.
they start quite a long way towards that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they were a creamy colour.
Yeah, they're like a cream colour that literally the moment you set it up looked fucking disgusting. And if you like thought about smoking, they would just be like and be covered in cigarette cum. It was disgusting. But yeah. So that shows you how fucking old I am, kiddos.
26.
That is not true.
I'm a time traveler. I'm an old soul. Shut up. But yeah, and so it controls like fucking dog shit. And there was like no music. Maybe I turned it down. I think I actually turned the music off. Or did I? No, I didn't. Did I? Did I?
Probably move away from the subject of music then.
Yeah. And it was just really terrible. And then when I figured out how to melee, because you melee with the pickle, which basically means that it turns to the left. And then like half of it gets like kind of cut off because the bounding box isn't there.
Rotate the pickle, that is a conventional thing in combat.
Rotate the gherkin. Yeah. And then they go, ew! Like they don't make like anime girl noises, they make like Western porn noises, which kind of threw me.
You were expecting a different vibe.
I was. And then it's like the guy you're playing as is grunting, and I'm like, what heterosexual nonsense is this? Speaking as
there's plenty of like actual porn games on Steam that you could buy instead, you know.
Yeah, here's one. I could just go watch some pornography because it doesn't matter.
Got a VR headset. VR porn does exist.
I've been meaning to try VR porn. I've heard it's very disorientating.
The experience.
Yeah, I'm just honestly like that. Of course, that sounds like really dodgy, but no, like seriously, I'm very curious to see how it is. That would I just can't really imagine it.
I get that.
I guess it's probably like actually having sex, but you can't move, have no input, and your body's different. But you know.
Yeah.
But whatever. And yeah, it's like you hit them with the gherkin, and then they get. And then they start blushing when they're defeated. They stay still. You can go through them, and they drop like a fistful of tomatoes out their cooches, which is a long-range weapon. You throw and then like when he initially picks up a new weapon, he just makes the same kind of like jerk-off moan noises, and I was like, this is really uncomfortable. I'm sorry. This is just the most sexless fucking thing I've ever encountered. I mean, I wasn't going into Hentai Shooter 3D expecting fucking the Citizen Kane of hentai games, which somebody make Citizen Kane into a fucking anime dating sim, please. That sounds great. But, oh my god. And every level was like baby's first fucking Duke 3D build engine level.
God, I'm sorry. After you said that, it was ruminating around my head for a second, and then suddenly the thought of like, oh, there'd be a hidden story path where you'd be able to romance Rosebud.
Yeah.
Okay. And carry on.
It's literally just a sled in an anime school uniform.
Yeah. Sorry.
It's not even like a humanized a personification. Yeah. And then I started throwing tomatoes at these women, which they found really hot, apparently. Like, I threw a bunch of tomatoes at a succubus who was in booty shorts and a fucking vest, and they've got like tomato cum on them, and then like and then they blush, and then they just stop.
People don't blush if you throw tomatoes at them. They tend to
No, if you throw a
kick you in
tomato
the
at me,
head.
I will fucking kick your shit in because fuck you, I know what vegetables I need. And a tomato is a fruit.
Are you saying that because you know the actual definitions of these things is really fucking hazy, and I've heard arguments on every possible side of this?
Yeah.
Yep.
I am that bitch.
Yep.
But yeah, and honestly, it's like, at the end of a level, it's literally like the same picture of an anime girl. It's just one picture, and she's like lying there on a bed, and there's like an open pizza box, and I'm like, okay, maybe this is me not being attracted to femmes, but like, I want the pizza.
I think
you can sit there and be like,
Oh, senpai, I'm so cold. Could you
I'm like, yeah, bitch, meat feast!
I think this may be a very big example of this.
I don't feel this was meant for me.
This was not meant for you, but is also quite bad.
I mean, it's just schlock. I don't know if you can actually buy it for physical money. You probably can, because any fucker with, like, game maker...
I have a
I think I got it in a Humble Bundle.
I believe Dicko actually bought it for us.
That's why Dicko's the only other person on our friends list who's played it.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I looked at that and I was like, oh, Dicko's played it. Yeah, that checks. I was just like, Yeah. But no, it was bad.
Bad video game, yes.
So I recommend, if you want Hentai Shooter, if you want, like, a good experience of a Hentai Shooter, listen to Japanese anime for perverts while playing Doom or something. I don't fucking know. I wouldn't suggest playing H-Doom because it's just very silly, but it is a lot more competent, I guess.
I have heard bad things about it, so I do not wish to engage
I've
in
seen it, and it's just like,
about it.
okay, why? Okay, it's very kind of just, you know, that grim kind of straight porn. And let me explain what I mean by that.
I think I know what you mean.
No, where it's just like, every like woman's got to have the biggest, most stupidest tits and ass, and like literally like a 3 centimeter waist. And it's super anime, and like Doom Guy's cock is literally the size of his thigh, and it's like, okay. And there's like shagging animations that are like the finisher moves, ha ha ha. And it's just like, I mean, don't get me wrong, this must have taken them a very long time, and I'm sure this does it for a lot of people, but I'm just kind of looking at it going, this is so aggressively heterosexual. You know, there's that kind of aggressively heterosexual where you're like, this is borderline sexless to me, because it's just so aggressively trying to be pornographic, and it's just going the other way.
I get you.
Yeah, I mean, maybe I'm alone. I mean, again, like, I'm not here to king shame. I'm not here to judge. I am very pro-sex. Love to try it one day. And like, honestly, I don't care. Just because something doesn't work for me doesn't mean it doesn't work for a lot of other people. So if that's what gets your rocks off, good on you. I'm not personally attacking you. I'm just personally like, what? Perplexed, yeah. So yeah, wouldn't recommend Hentai Shooter 3D. The last thing I want to talk about is actually good.
Cool.
So that's good. Wait, no, I've only talked about one bad thing, so it's fine. But yeah, I watched, because I was like, I'm gonna hunker down and get on some commission work, and I like to put on horror movies, you know, in the background, just cause I like horror movies, you know, and it's a nice little bit of relaxation for me. And I put on Run, which is a Netflix movie with Sarah Paulson and Kiera Allen. Sarah Paulson, I think she's great, and I love how she seems like such a lovely person, and yet she's always playing like the most fucked up women, and she plays them so well, and I'm like, girl, how? But whatever. And I was meaning to put this on and just kind of get some art done. No, I could not do that. I had to give this movie my full fucking attention. It is intense. It deals with some pretty seriously fucked up themes. I chewed my nails to pieces watching this fucking movie. I was literally, like, Wib will tell you, he was turning around being like, you're right. And I'm like, yeah, I'm fine. Like, I can't take my fucking eyes away. It was so good. Okay, the basic line of it is Sarah Paulson has a disabled daughter, Kira Allen, and she's in a wheelchair. She's homeschooled. It kind of goes through her routine of she gets herself out of bed. She takes a fuck ton of tablets because she's got a lot of probably she's got asthma. Her legs don't work. She's got like heart problems and like she's just got a fucking slew of like medical conditions that require a lot of medication. As someone who grew up in a house with somebody who had to take a lot of different medications, it really does fuck with you. Like, you're throwing up a lot of the time. You see her throwing up, and it's like, this is already very well informed of living with a heavily medicated person. And it kind of shows you like the rundown of her day, you know, like how she gets ready and stuff, and her mum, like, you know, like her mum and her have a good relationship, you know. And she's currently waiting to get an acceptance letter from a college because she's like 17, I think. And it's like there's certain little things that start being a bit unusual. So, you know, it shows quite early on Sarah Paulson in like a support group for parents. For them when their kids are going away to college, and it starts off with like a lady sobbing, being like, "Oh, I'm just gonna miss her," and like, "Oh, my little girl's growing up and going out, and you know, I'm gonna feel so lonely." You know, it's like parent stuff. You know, like, "Oh, my kid's going off to college. This is like a big milestone in their lives. It is difficult for a parent to let go," and you know, it's that kind of stuff. It's, you know, and then it gets to Sarah Paulson. She's like, "Why would I be worried? My kid's amazing." And they're like, "Yeah, but given her condition," and she's like, "Yeah, well, we haven't even heard back yet, so it's fine." You know, and then it starts like it starts looking like maybe the mum is kind of intercepting her daughter's mail and like not letting her get it and stuff, just so maybe she can get to the college letters before her daughter does, which is like, and you're like, huh, that's a little weird, and like small things start going wrong, and it just, the tenseness in this movie is great. It's I will posit this caveat: trigger warnings for like basically like abuse of a disabled person, not like any kind of like sexual abuse or anything, just kind of like there's gaslighting, there's I don't know how much more I can say without giving a lot of it away.
I think it's safe to say, because I think you are getting close to like spoiling things.
Yeah, I'm not going to carry on anymore about it, but it is a very tense movie. It deals with some kind of hefty real life themes, but honestly, the acting in it is fucking phenomenal.
What I was most
absolutely astoundingly good.
What I was most surprised at about the movie is when you started watching it and you gave me the basic outline, and I suddenly was like, I know the entire plot of this movie. Why do I know the entire plot of this movie? Like, as you were telling me more about it, I'm like, I have not seen this movie. And then I put two and two, and I was like, oh, it's a Scaredy Cats video I watched.
Everyone should follow Scaredy Cats, which is Thought Slime's like horror movie channel.
Yeah,
it's very good, very funny. He has great taste in movies. But yeah, that the movie's really tense, and there's I feel that the ending is explicitly for me to enjoy.
Yeah,
you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So,
I'm just assuming that Pedro Pascal turns up at the end and goes, hi.
No, he's actually stood in the corner of my room right now because Shayna's bought me a fucking like a 1.5 tall standee of him for my birthday. So he's been hanging out in the, like, Wib was he was jump scare Pedro for the first 2 weeks after he moved in, because I would like go to the bathroom or have a shower, I'd come out, Pedro Pascal would be standing fucking staring at me. And he literally did it to me on a stream.
Yeah, that was really funny.
For you! Actually, it was really funny. I can look back on it and laugh.
I put him in the shower, so when you went
so I went to shower, I was like, Pedro Pascal's in my fucking shower.
When you went in midstream, you went to the lavatory.
Oh, yeah.
And you open the door, and then suddenly there's a tiny man standing in the shower.
Yeah. Yeah. And then, I went into, I woke up in the morning and I went to go get myself a coffee and he was fucking stood on the dining table and I just fucking... Okay, Whip seems to have been kind of bored of that now.
You reminded me of it, so, you know.
I fucking hate you. But yeah, so that's fun. And no, Pedro Pascal does not show up. Although him and Sarah Paulson are best friends in real life.
Yeah.
Which I think is very cute, which is why I can't imagine her being even remotely... not a perfect individual.
I mean, Hollywood celebrities, you know.
Nah, they're both perfect people.
I always kind of view them all with a degree of suspicion.
I do state that with some hyperbole for comedic effect. But apart from Pedro Pascal, who is a perfect human being. Okay, he's got a hand tattoo, which does annoy the inner tattoo enthusiast in me. But apart from that, yeah. Completely wonderful in every way. Fantastic.
Okay.
But yeah, that's basically all I've been up to because of crippling depression. Fair. Yay! Remember, it's okay not to be okay. Just take care of yourself, seek out a friend, share a burden, share the burden of your thoughts, and be kind to yourself because you're a good person and you deserve love and care. You shit.
100%.
I'm kind
of... Maybe without the insult on the end.
No, that's kind of how I talk to myself internally. I'm like, listen here, you piece of trash. You're amazing! Be fucking kind to yourself, you stupid prick.
Do we have questions, Matthew?
We do have some questions, yes.
Do we have many questions?
We've got a few.
Okay.
Cool.
We'll try and get... I know we say this every time, but we should try and get through these with some degree of rapidity.
Yeah.
No.
What is the email address that people should send the emails to, Matthew?
thedrummermat@gmail.com.
Excellent. So, what questions do you have for us, Baron of questions?
Can I just start up with an apology? Because as people who, as long-time listeners will be aware, I tend to only check the emails on the day we record because, you know, I'm bad at the emails and I don't know why you let me do them. So
it's not so much letting you do them, it's that we've delegated because we don't want to.
Fair.
We'll be worse at it than you are.
If we've moved to a once a month-ish schedule, it means that rather than checking emails every 2 weeks and then the maximum delay between replying to someone is 2 weeks, that time is now about a month. So if you happen to email the day after this podcast is recorded, you might be waiting a while for the delay. So I put in a workaround. I've just put an out of office on the whole thing. Just replies to you straight away. Jobs are good. No,
that's so impersonal.
I've spent 125 episodes of I read all the emails and that will continue. But I've done a personal-ish reply to every email because I've just this is I really like that people email in and I want them to feel like I'm not just fobbing them off.
Yeah.
But it's getting a little bit too much to actually do a personal reply to each email. So everyone for this episode got a copy and pasted reply, which I tried to make a little bit funny, but it's not that funny. But and then from going forward, you might get an auto reply. But I'll still read them all, and if there's a specific question or something, I'll try and reply to some of them. But apologies
don't feel
if you
that you're
don't
not loved because you
specific reply because it was getting just a little bit too much, and I was getting a bit worried about opening the emails.
I mean, it's not like you've got a kid or anything.
Exactly. So yeah. But yes, they are all still read.
Yeah.
Just you maybe don't send anything that's a time critical question anymore.
How do I fight a bear in hand-to-hand combat? Please respond quickly.
Well, I did bloody miss out on the whole helping out towards the Grox box thing because of this email problem. So I do miss out on something.
Okay. Next person who asks anything like that, we'll just give you Drummer Matt's personal phone number. Well, I can't see a problem with that. I am joking.
Yeah, I know. So yeah, apologies for that as well, for you and everyone else involved. Ooh. But anyway, let's move on to the questions.
Yes.
Acidus.
Hello.
So this question involves Fighting Evil is Cool, which is the band that we're all ostensibly in.
Yes.
Allegedly.
Yeah, allegedly. Pandemic excluded. Fighting Evil is Cool has been selected to perform in Europe Vision 2022.
Oh no.
Okay.
What song would we perform?
What, of like our existing songs?
I presume no, but my answer to this question is that can we perform the song that we wrote at the last practice, which was at current count 17 months ago, but we wrote, or at least initiated the writing of a song called Come Day Dinner.
I'm sorry.
Oh yeah.
I'm sorry. It's about
It was a
cum,
Sunday
so
dinner, but it had cum, so
was
it was
that
a cum
something?
day.
Okay, no, it's coming. Did I suggest that fucking title?
You might have suggested.
Because that sounds exactly like something I'd fucking say.
And I can't remember what the song. There's a recording of it somewhere, but yeah, I think the question is probably like hinting at doing a cover that would be inappropriate.
Oh, then we're going to do a cover that is, I can't remember the band that did it, but it's literally just Boris Johnson is a fucking cunt, a fucking cunt.
Oh, that's by
cunt.
that was by Cunt and the Gang.
Oh, by Cunt and the Gang, yeah. Shock horror. But yeah, we'd cover. That's the song we'd cover.
I mean, that would be fine.
Nil pois.
Well, I don't know if we sing a song about how shit it is. Most of
Okay,
Europe
no,
would agree.
We'll get none from England, but the entirety of Europe would be like, yeah.
It's like, yeah, they're not wrong.
But yeah, Come Day Dinner. Oh my god, we need to practice again so we can finalize that beautiful piece of fucking like this
True art.
True art. I refuse to apologize for art.
Brandon.
Hello.
So, we've been given a website that streams any kind of media 24/7. We have control of a 24-hour programming block, which is then repeated every day, but you can only change it once a year. So the question is, what do we put on the stream? So we can put whatever we want. So we can put on, within the 24 hours, we could put on one episode or something, or one film or whatever on repeat, but then it repeats for a year.
But then it repeats every single day for like a year. And other people can see this?
Other people can see it. It's free for anyone to see it, and there was a few caveats to the question, but so it's free. It's free for people to watch. Anyone can access it. There's no tracing it back to us if we want to, or anything. So we can't get in trouble for like copyright things or anything.
I think they put that in just for me. It's untraceable.
And yeah, it's an open-ended question. I guess what would you put on it? You can either put something on it to make people really want to watch it the whole time, or you can put something on it so people watch it once and go, nope.
My initial kind of like knee-jerk response is something I don't feel comfortable saying out loud.
All right.
It's nothing like like nothing like murderous.
That wasn't what I was assuming. I was assuming it was like
cum related,
something very gross.
No, it's not like a monkey whacking off or something. That'd be weird.
Okay, now what?
Yeah, that's what I'm asking. What do you guys think? Well,
you don't want to dig this hole any deeper?
Drummer Matt, what's your answer?
I don't know. I reckon you could like just put on like a whole bunch of like Attenborough documentaries. Then you don't have to. Then people who don't want to pay a licensing fee or whatever can just sit and watch like the best bits of BBC.
Yeah, I get that.
And I don't think you get bored. Like 24 hours of it, you could watch that. Like then you like know that. I know you can probably get it all online. Blah blah blah. But you can like, okay, this is where I need my fix. I'm feeling a bit stressed out or whatever. Let's go watch some cute animals. We'll put on all the cute ones, so it's not like the less like murderous ones or whatever. Like select all the cute bits, and then if at any point anyone's feeling a little bit anxious or a little bit whatever, they can be like, oh, let's just watch some cute animals, and you can have Attenborough's dulcet tones and some cute animals on tap.
Okay, I get that.
That's what I'm going for.
I would probably go for the route of movies that are incredibly difficult to get hold of now because their licensing doesn't allow them as created situations that make them hard to reproduce. Like I can't think of an example offhand.
How many of these are Godzilla films?
What would
Funny you should mention that.
What would have been an example before they kind of sorted it out a bit recently was that for a long time Godzilla Returns, I think is its original title, but it's Godzilla 1984 / 1985, depending what country you're in. which was the first of like the new or the return that started in the 80s and went through the 90s, and Godzilla vs. Biollante, which due to licensing issues were tied up and unavailable on DVD for like a decade. And so I would try and find things like that are hard to acquire, and put those up, like things that have only ever had like a VHS release in the 80s sort of thing. Do a service to keep that media that could easily become lost alive. That's what I would do.
That's very, very noble. Both of you guys are being very thoughtful, and I think mine maybe isn't as good.
What was it that you were going to put up?
I'm not going to say, but my actual idea is basically a picture of Tom Cruise with a white background in Comic Sans. Down the side, it says, "He draws near." And at the start of the day, like stroke of midnight, it's quite zoomed out. And then over the space of like 24 hours, it zooms in into his dead, lifeless Scientologist eyes.
Can it zoom into his tooth that's in the middle of his mouth?
Yeah, it's going to be zooming in like
maybe that's what it does every year. You alternate it.
Every year, I give him an extra middle tooth. And it's just that.
You Photoshop in a new tooth for Tom Cruise every year.
That's literally it.
Okay.
Until he has a Liefeldian amount of teeth.
Yeah. But what's the idea that you didn't want to say?
Well, I don't want to say.
How about you?
Can you tell us and we'll cut it out, but can hear our reaction to it?
I will honestly cut it. I'll beep it. I'll beep it honestly, so you can tell us if it's really appalling.
Okay. It was gonna be basically I was just gonna be really gross about like a male actor or something, just be like, oh yeah, like, you know, John Bernthal in the shower. But I also didn't want to say that because it's kind of a bit dehumanizing to them, as much as, you know, it is a funny answer. Like, I wouldn't seriously do it. But also, could you bleep the entire thing, and then when I stop talking, could both of you just be like, fucking hell? So it's kind of a gag.
Yeah, that was what I was going to do anyway.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's the long and short of it.
Fucking hell.
Fuck. Well, so moving on.
Yeah.
Tidders.
Hi.
The question is thus:
Okay.
if you could have any weird bit of tat branded with the face of someone you love, so platonic love or romantic love or someone who work you love or whatever,
just
which person and which tat?
What? Which? Left or right? Oh, okay. I think Wib saw the moment I realised I had fucked up.
Yeah, that wasn't a joke. That was earnest. That was an earnest misunderstanding.
Yeah, because I looked down.
Like you looked from left to right. I was like, oh, which one? So,
okay, a bit of tat. What qualifies as tat? Because I like tat. I like just bullshit.
Yeah, but that's kind of the definition, right?
Yeah.
But everything
Can I get?
like
I've got an answer. Can I
Okay,
get? You know, you can get those like horse mask things that are like cover, you know, like rubber masks that cover. They're not just like the front. It's like the whole of your head.
I tried to convince Wib's mum to buy me one for my birthday like 6 years ago, and now she just buys me stuff that she wants. She doesn't even ask me what I want anymore.
Yeah.
When she just gives you money, I think she just assumes that horse masks are what you buy.
Yeah.
I want one of those, but like a Dicko mask.
No, dude. You know what you want? You don't want a horse mask. You want one of those latex, like morph suits. Morph suit, like
I just want the head mask thing because it'll be funnier.
You mean ones that are slightly floppy?
Yeah. Not like Dicko's face printed on a horse mask, like a human.
Oh
like
yeah.
You know.
Oh god, that's somehow worse.
Yeah.
Like the fact that it is slightly crap is part of the charm.
Yeah. It's tat. It's not like a quality product.
Yeah.
Okay. What
that's
you,
what
then?
I want.
Okay, that's a solid answer, and I fear that any other answer will just be bad.
I would like to get some pairs of socks printed that have the faces whoever I am going to go and visit, so that when I go around and take my shoes off, and I then don't say anything about it. So then I just like, I'll put my feet up, and then they just look down and see their own face.
So is it on the underside of the foot, or is it on the top, or is it on like where you usually get like logos on the side?
Like how you can if you Photoshop someone's face, so it makes it like an unwrapped
so it's an
texture.
unwrapped texture map. So,
yeah, like that on like one on either side, so it has like one on the top and one on the bottom. So it's like a wholly flesh-coloured sock.
A flesh-coloured sock.
A flesh-coloured sock, but with someone's face on either side of it. Yeah.
God almighty!
Yeah, I want that. I want that to be a thing.
New Snipe and Wib merch. Left is Snipe, right is Wib.
Yeah, but you know what's...
And you get a cock warmer that's
drummer mat.
the secret MisanthroPod add-on.
Oh my god.
Only for Patreons.
Yeah.
Yay!
What would you have, Snipe?
Well, I don't fucking know, because both of you are terrifying. Jesus Christ, I don't know. Oh, I know. Okay. So I've already got, once we get paid, I've already got a bathroom picture I'm buying anyway. You know which one it is.
Okay, yes.
Yeah. So...
Okay.
So I would have... Do you remember those old lady Barbie dolls that would, like, you'd hide toilet paper under?
Oh, the toilet paper covers that are, like, got a doll into them.
In, a dress.
Yeah,
I'd have one of
horrifying
those, but with Pedro Pascal's head.
What, like... One that's, like, taken from, like, a Chinese knockoff, like, Mandalorian figure?
No, like a really, really high quality.
Well, it's got to be tat. That's the thing. It's not high quality merchandise.
Yeah. Okay, so yeah, a really shitty one where he looks like Ashens.
That took far too long.
It's just so hard to think of men with like beards and like short brown hair. It was just difficult.
There's none of them. Real lack of white guys with beards in the world.
I mean, Pedro Pascal isn't really white, but okay.
Well, true.
Yeah.
But I meant like because you picked Ashens.
Oh, he is so white.
Yes, he's one of the
Fucking
whitest men
hell.
to ever live. Yes.
Yeah, very much so. Love that guy though. Before anyone thinks I'm being mean. But yeah, no, he's gonna look like Tom Scar. I've decided. Speaking of the second whitest man to ever exist. And
I don't even know what we're doing anymore.
No, Pedro Pascal's head on a toilet.
Okay,
dolly
that's an answer to the question. Let's move on to the next question.
Okay.
Snipe!
Hi! Wait, did I ask a question?
No, this is a question for you.
Oh,
As
from
the
Hoops.
sole... Melange.
Hello, Melange.
Snipe.
Yeah.
As the sole writer and creator of Age of Sigmar, Games Workshop has decided to let you start a new Warhammer Adventure series. What faction do you write about?
I'm a new faction. I just make a new faction. Or
No,
what?
a faction to write about
A
in the new
faction to
series of
write about.
Warhammer Adventure books, the kids ones.
Okay. I would write about the Skaven because
Oh, good answer.
they're very silly. They're the comedic kind of like thing, and they're fun and cute. And you could.
They're also horrifying. The more you know
They are
about
horrifying. Don't look into it. Just think, haha, cute rat men.
Yeah.
They talk funny. Hee hee hee. Yeah, leave it at that. You don't want to go further. I wrote some bad stuff.
them. You were going through the time.
I was going through a time, and I just have like, and like I can just imagine like a group of heroic kids kind of like thwarting a miniature Skaven, like they're trying to steal the baker's fucking cheese, and they're sneaking in, and I can just see like the triumphant.
I will say,
like at the end of them just like standing on a hill, and all the Skaven going, "Oh no, run away, run away!"
to my understanding, the Warhammer Adventure series is nowhere near that youngly skewed.
Yeah, but mine's going to be.
Okay, you're going to write Warhammer Adventures.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Get them young.
Yeah, no, I'm okay with this.
Fucking hook resin into their fucking veins. Drama Matt, your kid's about old enough to start collecting an army. What are they going to be collecting? Are you going to get him a death corpse of Craig?
Yes.
To chew on?
Yeah, that'll be fine. It definitely won't get eaten.
Exactly.
Seeing as we didn't get a question, we get a fun knuckle tattoo idea. So,
good.
right hand, MODL. Left hand, RLWY.
RLW.
Wait for you to compute.
I don't get it.
Hang on. I'll
Type it to us. We're dumb.
I'm trying to. I'm just trying to find a keyboard.
Dude, you have a desktop. Are you on your laptop and you're trying to find a fucking keyboard?
Oh yeah, ignore the first.
Oh, I didn't hear the T.
No, there's not a T. The T was a typo.
Oh.
Model railway.
Yeah.
Okay. I see. I'm gonna answer this because I want to feel included, and I also have one that I've wanted to get, but I'm probably never gonna get like knuckle tattoos. But it's gonna be love and hats.
Yeah, that is great.
Isn't that an old Saturday morning breakfast cereal
It is,
joke?
and the guy's like, "You got lucky," and puts on like a really cute straw hat.
Yeah.
What about you? Love grot? Or grot?
Grot life.
Grot life with a Y.
Yeah.
I don't believe I would like to get some tattoos beyond the one time.
Oh,
one
I've had.
but I don't
Elwood.
think. Yeah, but I don't think I would have knuckle tattoos.
No, I mean if I had like two like arms full, then I would because just the way it goes. But otherwise, I like the idea of kind of because I've like the problem with hand tattoos is that they always get fucked up. They blow out real easy because the skin being weird, and they get rubbed off real easy. So you can get a beautiful like knuckle tattoo. And within like 6 months, it's like gap. There's like it looks like it's been rubbed out with an eraser.
It's just to do with because the way you
Because
use
you
hands
use
and
your
stuff
hands all the
and
time, so
they
you
move.
yeah.
I've heard.
So
it's
it's like
weird.
your hands aren't really. I mean, as awesome as like hand tattoos look. Because I really like the if I were to get like some hand tattoos, like seriously, I'd probably have like lines down like my middle, like my fingers, like broken up lines and stuff like that, or like wrapping around. Like, so there'd be like a line down my finger, like over my knuckles to my nail bed, and then there'd be like a horizontal line going all the way around my finger, like and just like dots and stuff.
Yeah.
I think that kind of stuff looks great, but again, within 6 months, it'd be fucking wearing off.
I think that might be a bit of an exaggeration.
I use my hands a lot. I do.
I think that
I am constantly touching things. I'm going through garbage. I'm fucking ruffling kids' hair. I'm fucking like I'm breaking in doors. I'm wearing off my knuckle tattoos with fucking nail files.
I think you'd be fine. I think
they do go though. When it is sad to see how impermanent they are. Which is a pain in the bum bum.
I think it's just because hand skin's different to
it
other
is.
kinds
It's
of skin.
weird,
So
especially
it just
because
doesn't
it is
take.
so thin.
Yeah, it just doesn't.
So it's very
it just
blowing
doesn't
out.
take the same way it does in other parts of the body. So.
But yeah, that's a fun question. That was a very good question.
Right, next up, Gecko Knox. This one's a bit
Hello.
more serious and not so much for you two, I guess, but I thought I'd read it out anyway because it's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
It's for one of their friends. If you could give one bit of advice to someone who is about to become a father but feels extremely unprepared and worried about fucking it up, what would it be?
Drummer Man, as the token daddy of the podcast.
Well, being unprepared, I don't think I have not felt unprepared yet. And we're like, I don't know, a year and a half in, for the sake of approximising it. Yeah, you will feel unprepared, and that's kind of fine. You've got to be okay with not knowing what the shit you're doing. Because you can't look up... There's no instruction book. I know that's a very cliched thing to say, but like you can't look things up online, because otherwise you end up on like web mums. What's the...
fucking...
Prosecco Stormfront?
Yeah, like
Mumsnet.
I don't even want to like say the proper name of it, because it's a whole bag of horrendous wank, mostly. But like... Those sort of places are the only real places that you can get advice from, and if you're looking around online and it's all like contradictory and at best and
it's anecdotal and
so you kind of just go with it and know that you'll probably be fine because like people can do this shit. I know that's really shitty. Like it's not great advice, but like you will feel worried and you will feel unprepared, but like you'll still be great.
I'm going to relay some experiences that my brother relayed to me about becoming a father, if that's of any use, because my brother is a very good dad, despite being a shit. like me. He is also a cheeky shit who we didn't realize, but at the same fucking time, we both got sent ADHD assessment forms from the doctor, which explains a lot. But no, especially because we had really shit parents, so, you know, we are quicker to identify bad parenting. My brother literally is just like, yeah, I'm gonna fuck up, but the fact that I'm worried about it means that I'm at least on the right track.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, I like that.
Because, the people who sit there and go, I'm going to be a great fucking parent, they're the people who are fuck-ups. They're the people who ruin kids' lives, you know what I mean? And, like, yeah, you, like, as a parent, you will make mistakes, but you've just got to be open and honest about it, and your children are people. So, you know, this is me speaking from experience of having shit parents. Like, I've seen all my friends with their kids, and it is so beautiful to see them expressing love and treating them with respect. Like, our friends, Violet and Sarah, their kids, they're just saying like, oh, Liara, would you like to give Snipe and Wib a hug? And if she's like, no, then everyone's okay. You know, there's no forced intimacy, and it's like, oh, like you know, if one of the kids is getting a bit rowdy, it's like, oh, would you mind being quiet, please, darling? Like, we're trying to have a conversation. It's not shouting. It's that kind of treat your kids like people.
Yeah,
and it's just like, it sounds very easy, but it's not, and it is like there is so much onus put on parenting, and it is a massively terrifying thing. But yeah, I think it speaks volumes of your friend's character that he's concerned.
There's a book that I keep meaning to. Yeah. Sorry.
No,
there's a book that
Go on.
There's a book that I honestly I haven't read it yet because I keep meaning to and not getting around to it. But I've seen bits and bobs from it, and it's called like The Good Enough Parent, and it's like, because you're going to spend a lot of your time worrying that you're not good enough and you're not like doing as well as you can, and you are doing as well as you can, and that's sort of, you'll sort of accept that you are, you know, you're doing good enough. And it's just because like you spend a lot of the time thinking, you know, what if this bit isn't exactly right, or this other bit's exactly right, but as long as you're trying and you're being caring and you're doing your best, like, that's fine. You don't have to be absolutely perfect all the time, because no one is, and you couldn't be. And if you hold yourself up to that standard, which not many people really do with themselves in life, but when it comes to your kid, like, you want to be perfect because you want to do the best you can. But you can just be good enough, and that is good enough.
If you're doing the best you can, you're doing the best you can, and that means a lot to a kid.
I mean, honestly, all of this is just generally good advice for existing on this bitch of an earth anyway.
Yeah, that's how it is on this bitch of an earth. But yeah, no, and yeah, literally the fact that your friend is worrying about being a good father speaks volumes of his character, and that already in and of itself is a fantastically positive sign for him as a father. So props to your friend there, and just, yeah, it's so easy. Speaking as someone who, I ain't ever gonna have kids, so yeah, I can just be like, oh yeah, whatever, put them in the fucking tumble dryer, don't matter, whatever. Give them a brick to play with, did me no harm. Also, anyone who's like, oh yeah, I kicked my kids down. No, I got kicked downstairs as a kid. Didn't do me any harm. Yes, it did, because you're saying that.
Yes, it evidently, demonstrably has done harm.
Yeah. To lighten the mood a bit there.
Guys, my very last bit of advice is that when you next talk to this friend, whatever they're doing, tell them to go and sleep, because it probably won't happen again for the next year or so. Stop whatever you're doing now and go and sleep up until the moment of birth, or like, you know, a day or two before.
Yeah, easy. Just fucking, you know, prick your hand on a fucking magic spinning wheel and just wait until your kid's born. To be fair, that sounds pretty cool if I could just do that.
Right. We've got one more question, then one more just extra little bit that you'll be interested in.
Okay.
First up, Rye Derek.
Hello.
What are, in your opinions, the most effective monster design? Be it from folklore or TV or video games or whatever.
Oh, Jesus. That's a
big
difficult
question.
That's a very contextual and difficult question.
Okay, first one that comes to mind. Then it might not be your absolute answer.
Well, I mean,
Jesus, because like okay. So I instinctively wanted to go for something from The Thing because that stuff is terrifying 80s practical effects. But what really makes it scary is the lighting, because it was lit with fucking flares and impossible to shoot fucking low light environments, which like, and that is just a cacophony of beauty, and horror. So it's like. That's cool. I'll say, okay, Silent Hill 2 designs are good. That's like video game. I'm like, that's cool because... But then again, it's like, if you look at these things, like the weird, like, condor monsters with boots on. I don't know why they have boots on. It's like, yeah, okay, that's fine. It's the context of the story that makes those monster designs good. So it's like, it's not just one thing that I can think of. I'm thinking of like, I like this design, but I like this design because of how it was used, how it was portrayed, how much of it they chose to show, the story behind it. So I'm like, what?
Yeah, there's so much.
Okay, I'm going to say it. Jurassic Park. Dinosaurs legit.
I would say it's actually kind of similar, I suppose, and I talked about it earlier. Just one that I would pick out as being a design that I really liked and I thought was really effective was the design for Shin Godzilla in Shin Godzilla.
Good. That was a lot of character design storytelling. I don't know what the opposite of
because they made Godzilla scary again. Like he's weird and goofy. Like Kamakun
just does genuinely freak me out.
Yeah, I know.
So, you know, a lot of people are like, Wiggly Baby. I'm like, no, that thing is fucking evil. Stomp on it until it's dead.
I find him... I think that kind of says a lot about that it sits in that right level of unsettling, is that one form of him, half the people who watch it go, that is upsetting, I don't want that on my screen, and the other half go, look at the baby.
The wiggly bloody baby.
I think that, and it obviously, throughout the movie, it evolves and mutates and becomes the final form, and I think it is this unknowable, almost eldritch kind of horror to it that I think manages to recapture something from the original movie that had been lost in subsequent ones. Even when they kept fundamentally the same design, it needed to be kind of updated for modern audiences to have the same kind of impact.
Yeah.
So that's that would be.
No, that's a very good answer.
That would be just one, but yeah, if you're looking at the whole scope of human history and monsters we have created, if you want the absolute stupidest monster,
I'm right here, dude.
which is a cryptid that is known as rods.
Is this from your bullshit alien TV shows?
Kinda.
Okay.
It was in Monster Quest, which are they were actually in JoJo's Bizarre Adventure at one point.
Are they just streaks of light? Are they crepuscular rays?
They are. What they actually are is when people film things, because of the way cameras and interlacing works, it means that sometimes bugs will fly across the screen, and when you look at them in still frames, it basically merges like two images of them together to create long lines that have multiple wings. Because
those fucking things.
And people think that those are like invisible, interdimensional beings.
No, they're long fucking bugs.
And they're just it's just like long bugs.
Fucking long
bugs. It's just lines that are artifacts of the video like creation. They're fucking wild. They are the worst monsters. But yeah, Matt, do you have any thoughts on this?
Yeah, I've got the first answer that came to my head is so this is by far presumably not the first time this has happened, but it's the one that happened to my head. I really like, and also I don't know if they count as monsters. Let's bear with it. I really like the Reavers from Firefly, because I like that they're human, but they're not, and they're not.
They are kind of treated as monsters, so I'll
exactly.
One.
Yeah, they're humans, but they're not like
they've lost their
they're not like
exactly.
They're not. And yeah, like I said, the Firefly isn't the only thing by any means that does this sort of thing at all. It's just they're the first
I
ones
would
to get ahead.
say if zombies count as monsters, then Reavers should as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Because it's a similar sort of thing in that they're not just humans doing bad things or they're not baddies. They are different and they don't have the capability to not be what they are. But they are still close to humans, so they kind of reflect like the worst that humans can be.
And they are
but
scary.
More so. Yeah. And it just makes it so much more creepy.
Okay.
Yeah, I like them. And it's a bit different to like, sort of a lot of the other sort of typical monster answers.
I've got an idea. Okay. So, speaking of the thing, there's, I can't remember, I think they're called hunters from Dead Space 2.
Yes. Yes, they are called
We
hunters.
call them raptors because they behave like very clever dinosaur burbs. No, like, you know, in like Jurassic Park, how like there's like the when Muldoon dies, a clever girl, ha ha ha, you know, all that shit. They fucking like, because all of these the necromorphs and shit, like, they just run at you screaming.
Pretty much.
Which in and of itself is fucking terrifying. Fantastic designs. Horribly mutated people. Fucking great. But then there's the hunters that they flank you. They hide. They pop. They kind of peer around corners at you. And like, I know I'm kind of judging. It's not really designed visually, although visually they are spooky. The way they act is fucking creepy. It's so fucking creepy.
They are very, very cool enemies.
Very cool, especially because it's like a bucket of cold water's been thrown on you because you're so used to the kind of like frenzied murder machines, and then there's these cold, calculating fucking things.
There is one other enemy from Dead Space that has a similar
Exploding
kind of thing.
baby?
No.
Because exploding babies were fucking
they're
terrifying.
called pregnants, by the way. Yeah, it's terrible.
I'm tocophobic. I cannot be hearing this.
There's ones I can never remember the actual name for them, but they're basically Slender Men.
Oh, there's only like 3 or 4 that you ever encounter, and they're just there.
Yeah, because they're barely in the games. That you encounter, like the amount of them you encounter. I think I can't remember if they. I think they might throw a bunch of them in Dead Space 3, but I think across like Dead Space 1 and 2, you encounter them like 3 or 4 times in the complete runs of the game.
And
so
they always are terrifying because you barely ever encounter them.
So you never get used to like dealing with them because even though they're not hard to deal with, but because they're
unsettling.
Because they are they are these very big, tall bipedal things that are far more.
They remind me of Aircast Tau.
Yeah, I get that
Because they're just long.
Yeah.
And gangly, they're spooky. Yeah. But yeah, that is a really good question that we've probably given about 8,000 different and incorrect answers to. So thank you for that, and also sorry.
All right, very last bit. So isn't a question, but you'll be interested. Astro Zombiac. So a while ago, someone suggested the 40k Badcast as a podcast for Snipe. They listen to it and they enjoy it and they'd also recommend it. But interestingly enough, in the most recent episode, which is likely probably not the most recent episode, assuming they have a more sensible upload schedule than us, but in episode 99, the 2 hosts name drop you both and say that they like your stuff.
Well, I like them because they like me. I have been meaning to check it out, but like as I say, mental health's been a bit shit, and I always find it very difficult to try new things when I, you know, it's that kind of thing. But no,
that is lovely.
That's really lovely of them. I hope they're having a nice day. And if they aren't, then I'm going to make them have a nice day by doing a little dance.
Okay. See, I thought you were going to go to violence there.
Me?
Well, I mean, it's a safe assumption.
Wow.
Every day Snipe wakes up and chooses violence.
Oh my god. Yeah. Violence is not it's not a problem. These are just choices. Yes, I am quoting the most harrowing detective movie of our generation, Detective Pikachu.
Yes.
Good.
I will never see that movie again. We were literally lying in bed the other night talking about the licky tongue in the intro and how they knew how to make, like, they knew which Pokemon to make cute and which Pokemon to make horrifying, and how that licky tongue's tongue has so much weight to it. It is deeply fucking upsetting.
How much of the budget was spent on that licky tongue's tongue?
All of it. Literally.
And it was money well spent.
Yeah, fucking bravo, you sick, twisted fucks.
They made the right call, and I salute them for it.
And I never want to be in the same room as one of those people.
No, these people should be locked away, but they should be locked away in a very nice place.
Yeah, where they get, like, they get nice cakes and don't ever come near me again. I'm feeling very ambivalent.
Okay, that's the questions.
Okay, send us in what your favourite type of cheese is. Mine is yes.
Oh,
Yes, I shall have some cheese.
Yes.
okay.
My favourite cheese is mild cheddar because I am painfully mayonnaise.
I want you to, think about the fact that whenever you ask a question like this, people always answer it, and we have to spend a good few minutes as it happens remembering what the fuck you'd asked.
I like it because it keeps me on my toes, and I forget it like 10 minutes after the podcast recorded.
Exactly.
Anyway.
The next one is going to be a month away. Do you think we're even going to remember what happened?
Okay, favourite type of cheese? Mine is grated because it's just tasty, but it's got to be skinny grates. So it's like...
I don't... I spent too long in France for that to be an acceptable answer.
Okay, Monsieur Fromage, then what's your fucking favourite type of cheese, you bitch?
Grated cheese is fine, but you can't just... It's not great. I don't...
Grated cheese is grated cheese because it is great and it is cheese. That's my song, copyright. That's what we're going to Eurovision with, baby!
Yes, grated cheese.
Grated cheese, grated cheese. It is great, it is cheese, grated cheese.
Yes.
I
Okay,
am...
on that excellent note.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm in a band.
Thank you, everyone.
They won't
for
let me
listening.
write lyrics and I don't know why.
Thank you for listening, everybody. We're going to go now.
Yeah, it's been great.
Goodbye, everybody.
Bye!
Bye.